My name is Irene Kurka and I cordially welcome you to my podcast, Neue Musik, leben. I have studied classical singing and I'm still singing classical music, but also so much contemporary music and performance and multimedia, whatever there is. If you would like to know more about me, please look at my website, www.irenekurk.de. I will put this into the show notes for you. You could also subscribe to my monthly newsletter, and I also invite you to subscribe to this podcast here because it supports my work and it makes the podcast more visible. And yes, this podcast is now really listened worldwide, which I'm really excited about, that there are people out there, probably very far from me also, and you're interested in new music and you're interested how I approach this and how I talk with people about new music, their being, and how we share with you the behind the scenes, the insider knowledge, and that I really like to bring you the human beings out of the new music world so much closer. I'm very thankful for all the emails and feedbacks I receive from you. And I'm cooperating with the NMZ, that is the Neue Musik, which is one of the most important German music papers, or a paper in a German language. Yes, let's put it that way. I've decided for the summer break to do again the series with Best Of, I call it. And in this Best Of series, I pick out episodes that have really very high downloads, very high numbers, and so I assume that this interview is important to you. And also I know that some of you, found my podcast later and are listening to the recent episodes, but I think there's lots of precious treasure in the old episodes as well. So I picked out in this Best Of series, according to all the download numbers, the interview with the composer Clara Ianotta. Please enjoy the interview with Clara Ianotta. Hello, I'm welcoming you, Clara Ianotta, here in your empty apartment in Berlin.
Thank you so much.
Just getting everything ready here. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I want to start with, how did you find your way into new and experimental music?
I think that it was by accident somehow, because I was a flutist and I just wanted to be a flutist in my life. And then one of my professors, my professor at that time, he told me that I had to study composition because I had to understand better what I was playing.
That's a great approach. I never heard about that.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And so that's how I start, basically. And I remember that when my first professor in composition, he once told me, he asked me, you don't want to be a composer, right? And I was like, no, okay, because you actually have a problem with creativity. You don't have so much creativity. And I was like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to be.
Really? He told you that?
Yes, he told me.
Oh my God.
And then I remember that I told him something like, I'd rather be a musicologist. And then I think a couple of years later, I just stopped playing flute. And I started to just compose. I think that I've been experimenting my whole life, creating things from scratch. My father taught me how to build my own toys, etc. So it's like I've always had these Frankenstein toys, it's like taking pieces of everything and just connect them together, and that was my toy.
How small were you then, or young?
He taught me when I was 3.
Oh.
Toys were not allowed. I always say that.
Okay.
And so it's like toys were not allowed, and so he taught us, me and my siblings, how to make them. And I've been doing my toys, or anyway everything that I thought it was a toy, since I was 3. And I think that when I started to compose with sound, at the beginning I didn't quite know that I could do that also with sound, because from one side I didn't have experience, and from the other side the music that I was that I grew up with was just not that weird, And so I remember that when I started to compose, which I was not old, but anyway I was like 18, 19. I remember that I used to write like Scriabin or and then at some point I met other composers and I saw that they were like preparing instruments, I think that someone showed me Cage, etc. And I was like, wait, can you do that? And so I was like, okay, well, that's my jam. This is how I grew up with, and ever since I started to just, try to build my sounds, try to imagine sounds that don't exist and somehow make them real, using pretty much everything that I would find, So that was, I think that, when I was pretty much 19, I started to...
and so you still build instruments?
Oh, yes, the whole time. The whole time.
Great.
What I can't do, I asked to some engineers. So, for example, I worked for about 3 projects now with a Berlin-based engineer, visual artist engineer called Jan Bernstein, and he builds everything that has motors. So it's I really like to build things.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, the instrument you build or the toys, you can really touch them, but the music you cannot touch.
Exactly. Well, you just have to... it's such an abstract realm, the sound, that somehow building an instrument, it concretizes a tiny bit more. And it's almost like I can talk in a better way about... I can visualize it, I really can see it 3-dimensionally and not just in my head. And I think that probably one of the reasons why I do build it, knowing that in any case, that instrument that I'm going to build is going to be just part of that sound. It's not going to be that whole sound that is in my head. It's part of it, but somehow it just helps me to visualize this abstract realm that sound is,
What represents good new music for you?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know. Okay. From one side, music is good for me in the sense that I cope with reality in a better way. It's my way of almost analyzing myself, understanding myself. And that's why one of the what happens to me when I write is that I really get very, very sad, because it's almost like this inside mirror. At least this is how I experience music and the way, the writing experience, composing.
And when you listen to it, does it also mirror something in you?
When you listen to it, it's even worse sometimes because it really shows things of yourself. I think that it's pretty much the whole process, composing and then hearing it. It's like when you hear it, you're naked, completely naked. And the thing is that you are sharing with the rest of the people your darkness, or at least for me, it's my darkness. I remember when I was younger that music was just playful, like writing a piece was just this, oh my God, I'm going to make just this, not game, but anyway, it's going to be playful and sparkling and joyful. And then at some point I was like, why should I even lie? There's just darkness, just let's deal with darkness. And but it's sometimes it's hard, not just for me. I had people that were talking to me after concerts and saying, I really didn't feel comfortable on my seat. And I was like, good, you should not. I really think that you should not, my goal is actually, I want that you feel it.
Okay.
But this is like what is my personal experience with music. But if I think about like the social aspect of new music, that's really hard. It's really, really hard nowadays to me. It's such a close community and mostly white male community. I mean, it's hard because I feel that sometimes it's really close. It's too judgmental. We have it's too privileged, and we really should try to open it a tiny bit more. But it's really hard. It's really hard.
But you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it in my own very small reality. But institutions should just join and do their job, you know. Because if you think about music, and above all new music, it's one of the. I mean, everybody is super high educated, you know. It's like you do all this educational path from you get your bachelor, master, PhD, postdoc. So it's super highly educated, which means that in order to this is what I think, but I think that in order to change something about this community, you have to change the institutions that bring you to where you are, you know. And so I think that there's a lot to do in this, and I really hope that this will change.
Okay, I understand.
But it's hard. I mean, I see it. I mean, since last year I started to do also job interviews in order to teach, and I do see that mostly who gets the job are men.
Okay.
And I just don't get it, but I actually do get it. But I think that jury have to change. It's like people have to start to put in juries people that can actually change the things. You know, it's so I really hope that this will change.
Great, I hope that too. That you are like a pioneer.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
I think so too.
I'm just joining the resistance.
Okay. What are the qualities you most appreciate in the performers you work with?
The performers, when they are open-minded, when they trust you, no matter what, you know. Because I mean, you know, it happened to me that I've worked with musicians that were very resistant at the beginning. Somehow, I mean, actually, most of the time this happens to me. It's like the first rehearsals that I have, they treat me so badly. And I mean, I get it. I have long hair and I don't know. I don't get it, actually. But anyways, like it takes a tiny bit of time for them to trust me. And then after a couple of rehearsals, when they do understand that I know what I wrote, I know those sounds, I can sing my whole pieces, I can show you every sound I wrote, and I can hear it. Then somehow there is a trust that is established, and then something goes on pretty well. Not every time, but so I mean, I would love to meet performers, and I do know performers like this, of course, that they trust you right away, you know. I mean, and it does happen. Like Jack, you know, the string quartet Jack. They are some of the most amazing musicians that I've seen. I've seen them performing pieces from students quite a lot of times, and the seriousness with which they just approach to their music, knowing that these are just students. They are still completely unknown, and maybe the piece is terrible, but the seriousness with which they just take care of each sound is something that it just makes me love this job, you know. So I think that, probably trust is what I appreciate the most from performers.
Amazing, but I mean, you already know how to handle it when it first is a little bit rough, and but you stick to it.
But it's frustrating, you know. It is very, very frustrating. I mean, I've recently worked with an orchestra, and I mean, it just you lose so much confidence. You know, you go home and you feel so bad. And also you have, I mean, do I have to, I mean, even if the music doesn't convince you perfectly, as a performer, you have to defend it, you know. And I do understand that it is quite a hard job, because you have to play so much music that you don't like and you would rather not play. But that is also part of your job. And the fact that I come there and you don't know me, and so you assume that my music is shit. I mean, it's just, it's really, really frustrating. And then you get home and you feel so bad. And these are things that I've experienced them so many times, and I'm 36 now, and I think that I proved myself so much, in this job, and I still have to prove myself. And I talked with much older composers that I admire a lot. I was talking with Haya Chernovin, which has been my professor and a mentor and a friend. And I told her, I asked her, how many times do I have to prove myself? And she said, your whole life.
Okay. But is it also then a solution, to work with people again who already have the trust with you, and then you're like, oh my God, they're so amazing, like this quartet you told me. And then
no, that is absolutely exciting. That is absolutely exciting
because I also like that as a performer. There are some composers where it's really like a great match, and then I also go back,
of course,
because it's just wonderful. And with each experience or new piece, you even go deeper because you already have so much understanding for each other.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I really love that. I would like to know, because I know that you actually haven't written anything yet for voice, which is sad for me. But how did it come to that? Or will that ever change? Or
well, I did. So there are two pieces that I actually. I would not say voice, because it depends on what we think about what voice is. It's like I did write for example, for Neue Musik, but they almost didn't sing. Voice is just, I think that I still didn't find how I can project this sounds that I have in my mind to the voice itself. I think that it's very malleable as an instrument, let's say, but I still don't feel that I am ready to write for them, It will come, maybe, I don't know. It's like I have to think about it, but maybe just because, you have to choose a text, you have to do all these kind of things, and it's I think that I'm just not ready yet. But people have been asking me, and one person even asked about an opera, and I was like, no, not yet.
It's good that you feel what you can do and what really fits to you. That's I think a great quality than to just do it and then maybe not be happy or feel, oh my God, this was a mistake or something.
Yes, absolutely.
How do your friends, family, colleagues and audiences react to the sort of music you make, and how do you deal with their reaction?
Okay, my family, that's fantastic. My father... So my parents never came to any concert, except for one. My father came actually in Paris when I did my master's degree. And he knows what I do. It's like sometimes he just says like, hey, Clara, listen to this noise. Maybe you want to put it in your next piece. But somehow he still doesn't get it. So for example, he keeps asking whether I can write a song for his church, a Christmas song for his church. And I told him so many times that if I do that, you will not be allowed anymore to get inside that church, And I remember one episode in which I think last year it happened. So I came back home. I went to Rome to visit my families, and then my father was eating in the kitchen, and I got inside the kitchen, and there was my CD playing. My father was playing my CD.
Oh!
And I was like, wait, what? I do know this music. And in order to get inside the kitchen, I had to open the door, which communicates with the living room in which my mother was. My mother was watching TV. And so I opened the door. I realized that the music was playing was mine. And I heard my mother screaming to my father, can you stop that shit? And me and my father, we started to laugh because...
Oh, no.
My sister, my sister, actually I collaborated with my sister quite a bit. She's a dancer, she likes what I do.
Good.
My friends, it depends. I mean, it's they think that I write creepy things. I mean, this year that I've been in Rome, I love coffee, and I found this amazing coffee shop where I went every day. And so at some point I started to be friend with the bartenders, and they asked me, okay, what's your name, what you do? And I was like, well, I'm a composer. And they were like, oh my God, what you write? And I was like, I mean, weird things. But if I put you on Spotify, do I find you? And do I find you? And I was like, yeah. But and then they went and they were like, oh my God, I'm going to this. And I was like, be right. And we never talked about the music.
But you still got your great coffee.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually what I told them. I was like, look, do whatever you want. Just give me the coffee every morning, no matter what you think about my music, you know. It's fine. I mean, they say like it's like horror film, and I'm flattered. So, okay. I mean, I always tell them I write noise, so it's and yeah.
So you're cool, but obviously there are also people who really support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there are prejudices against new music? And if so, how do you want to see things change? And what are you doing to help and bring things in the change of the attitude?
I think the people outside the new music field are biased as well as we are. I mean, I think that we are even closer than the audience that doesn't know, like, that has prejudice about new music is. I mean, of course, it's like there are people that they think somehow that new music is Webern and Schoenberg, that is still that, you know. And I mean, many times I've had, for example, I remember going to a concert at Harvard in which Okyun Lee, this unbelievable cellist, was playing, and she's very, very known as in jazz, you know. I mean, although she's an experimentalist, etc. And I remember that there was a big audience, really, really big, and she was playing, and that was the first time that I actually encountered, her playing, and the audience went insane, like insane. They loved her, and then I was like thinking, if you love that, you will love our music too, you know, because it's that's kind of what we do. And so I think that a lot of audience doesn't know what we do. I mean, but it's our fault because somehow I think that the new music community really closed itself. It's almost like, we want to be elitist, you know, we want that the people are super high educated. Pop music, I don't listen to that thing. I mean, come on. I think that, first of all, we should listen to pop music. There is so much that we can learn from it. And I think, as I said already, it's like we really should try to open much more. And I think that we lost the mainstream that the new music was because of us. I mean, of course, society has evolved and changed, and other needs started to be important for people, etc. But I think that the new music community has to change. Yeah. We have to be more open. We have to be able to accept, and also just, you know, but I think that the new generation does it. I mean, I've been in many juries, and I'm meeting a lot of young composers, and I see that this is what they are doing now. And so, I don't know, maybe in 20 years it'll change. When all the old people die.
I hope it will go faster.
Oh, me too. Hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. So now you are the artistic director of the Bludenzer Tage zeitgemäße Musik.
Yes.
But from 2014 to 2020?
Yes.
So what does curating mean for you, and how do you do it?
Well, it's something that happened by chance. Alexander Moosbrugger, which was the artistic director before me, he called me saying, look, a friend composer gave me your name so that I could give you a commission for the Bludenzer Tage. And I really liked the music that you write, and I thought, why don't you just curate it? And I was like, what? Wow. I was like, of course. At the beginning, really honestly, I just took the music that I liked. I chose the composers I liked. I was like, let me just, I want to put together almost like a playlist, of the pieces I love, and I want to hear them live, And then I started to just realize that actually is a very important job, and it's the responsibility that you have is really huge, because curators create the scene, they create the brands,
Yes.
It's like they create what is going on. We give the platform to artists, and so it's almost us that create the scene, the new music scene. And I think that you have to treat this job in the most responsible way. And so that's why I've been very vocal about gender, about the fact that when you have a festival, no matter how big it is, of course, my Bludenz is pretty small. But I think that curating is not just a huge festival, a small festival. Is also a concert. Is also the choice that you make when you as professor bring pieces to analyze inside your class. It's also when someone asks you who are your favorite composers, and you mention someone, almost like as an educational, pedagogical thing. And I think it's the way it is done now. Many times I say that is not responsible enough. And so I do my job. I try to give to Bludenz the vision that I have of what my community, or at least like the hopes that I have for my community. It's not perfect yet, because also my judgment is not perfect, and I'm trying to work on it. And yes, for me, curating it's something that I really love. It's time consuming, because I wake up every day, and one of the things that I try to do pretty much every day, or at least most of the days, is to listen to music.
Oh, how nice!
Oh, of course, that's the only way. Is like you go on SoundCloud, someone posts something, etc., and I listen to that, and sometimes you find people that you didn't know before. It's not, because the problem that I see is that many artistic directors, and probably also because I receive so many emails as a Bludenz artistic director. Imagine how many emails a bigger festival or a more known festival can receive. I hardly deal with all of them, because it's really a lot. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Imagine these people. But I don't think that it's good that a curator only goes to concerts and that's how they pick, their lineup for the festival. They have to listen. They should have advisors. I really think that the one-person curator is just it's not okay. But anyway, curating to me is something that brought me a lot. The thing that it was the most important for me about being a curator, it was how much awareness of how terrible this new music community is. It really showed me that, and I tried to do my best. Sometimes it's not enough, but yeah.
Well, thank you so much about telling me how you curate and how serious you take that. I really like that, and you already kind of passed my next question. What is your approach to time management, and do you have any advice for the rest of us? Do you have rituals, or how you say you listen every day to music?
Oh my God, advice? No, really. I get my daily routine is pretty boring. It's like wake up at 5, I do breakfast and read newspapers, and then I just work as much as I can. Normally it's like the first 4 or 5 hours of the day are the most productive for me. And then it starts to go a bit downhill. I listen every day. I think about 1 to 2 hours of music. And then I read a lot. I watch a lot of series. I really like that. I run a lot also. I do a lot of sport, and I love to just walk. So this is pretty much what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. It's advice. I don't have it. I mean, I don't have it. I mean, what I would say is just write something and then let it, sleep on it. And then the day after you wake up, you understand that maybe you have to rewrite it completely. I don't have advice. I mean, actually, if people have advices for me, I would take them.
Okay, right. It sounds like you have it pretty much lined up, your day and your routines. And so for you, it works.
It does work. It does work pretty well, yeah.
What are you thankful for today?
Oof. Well, so many things. I mean, it's like I do the job that I like. I mean, it's pretty insane if I think about it, that I know how difficult this job is. So I know so many people that either they don't have commissions or it is just difficult to make your life, out of it. And the fact that I can do it, that it just, I feel very extremely privileged. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm very, very, very extremely thankful for Bludenz, for all it taught me, for the fact that they trusted me without knowing me. And now it has been 6 years that I do it, and they still want me. And I have all this support, And it really, this is what is great, is that, I mean, when I was in Paris in 2011, I had a concert, and Josephine Markovits came. She was the artistic director of the Festival d'Automne in Paris, and she listened just to one piece of mine. She was like, you know what? I'm giving you a commission for the Festival d'Automne. Let's try this, And this somehow started this whole thing, because then I got the DAD, then one thing called the other, and I just wish there were more people like that, You don't need always the same names in your festival. But in order to do that, you really have to go and try to find. And sometimes you do find these people in a conservatory's concert, in which they're just kids doing their experimental pieces. Yeah, so I'm extremely thankful for that.
Who or what has played the greatest role in shaping you, and what inspires you?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, it's because this changed, of course, during the years. It's like, as I said, it's like the people that gave me the opportunities, of course, and then there are some other people that inspired me somehow in a way that, like, for example, if I think about Dorothy Molloy, which is this writer, this Irish writer that I discovered in 2014, that it was a very difficult year for me, because somehow I was having panic attacks that I never had in my life, but like pretty bad ones that I had to go to the emergency right away. And it's almost like I realized that you could die, and you just have these panic attacks. And then what happened is that the way I am is that when I fear something, I try to read everything about it, And so when I started to read about death and experiencing death, etc., I came across Dorothy Molloy, which actually was suggested. My partner suggested me to read her, and she's an unbelievable writer. She wrote these 4 small collections of poems in which she talks about death and her her watching her body disintegrating because she was having cancer, and most of the time she would write while she was having treatments, chemotherapy, etc. And it touched me so much. I think that he really shaped the artist that I am today, or like even the person that I am today. It's like ever since in 2014 I started to use always her words for titles, but not just titles. It's like it really gave me the inspiration. It's like she always gives me these images, and then from the images that she gives me, I can just try to find the sonic visualization of these images. So I think that she was definitely one of the biggest inspiration of my life. David Foster Wallace, Italo Calvino, the way they treat temporality, and it's pretty unbelievable. Chris Cunningham, which is a video maker, it's the way he uses. So I think that, I mean, of course there are composers that I mean, Haya Chernovin has definitely been one of the most important figures in my life. Above all, because when I met her, when I started to study with her in 2014 at Harvard, I had the biggest crisis of my life. For 1 year, I could not write, and she's one of the reasons why I got out of that crisis.
Great.
She really helped me. So super. I think that all these people kind of inspired me and made me, I mean, they made me grow.
So what does it mean for you to be true to yourself or authentic in this music business, and how do you keep true to yourself?
Oof. Oh, that's... this is really hard. True to myself, I don't even know if I am truthful or authentic. It's like, I don't know. It's super hard. It's like, it's really, really hard to respond to this question. I would not say truth or authenticity. I probably say what I try to be is as honest as I can to myself. I'm not sure whether I'm authentic. Probably not. Truthful? Nah, I lie a lot, so it's not to myself above all. So I don't think so. But I try to be honest in the sense that I try to give you my all. Sometimes sometimes I fail, which I think that is fantastic when it happens. I mean, the real memories that I have, that I keep in my heart, are above all the moments in which I failed the most.
Okay.
They really taught me so much. So I try to be honest, I have to say, but working as hard as I can, trying to still learn as much as I can, trying to document myself, but I mean, it's like, originality, identity, it's so hard.
Okay.
It's so hard, yeah.
I mean, it's always a process, and if you were as honest as possible to yourself, then I think you're pretty close.
Yes, yes. At the same time, it's like, I don't know if I am honest. I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's like, I know that it sounds stupid said by a privileged person like I am, but life is pretty hard. This job is pretty hard because of all the judgment, because of all the, the loss of confidence that you have to deal with every single time something happens. You don't get a job, you lose confidence. If you don't get a job for the wrong reasons, you lose a lot of confidence. You write a piece that you're not happy with, you lose confidence. And so it's not just the loss of confidence, but all this judgment that is around. So it's really hard, okay? And people have expectations, and you fail them sometimes because, okay, I wrote a bad piece. Okay, I mean, it's fine. I wrote some good pieces too,
But you have some inner strength to keep going. I mean, even if things...
Otherwise, what do I do?
Yeah.
I mean, look,
But I think some people give them really up, and you're like, okay, this was shit, but I get up again, or they didn't treat me nicely, I get up again. And that's a real inner strength.
Well, not really. Yes, but at the same time, I can get up again because there are still people that support me. Because I am privileged enough that around me I have a lot of network. You know, it's like there are all these artistic directors that know me, all these composers that know me, all these students that know me now. So I can keep going. If I write a bad piece, I will have another commission. But there are so many other composers that don't.
Okay.
So it's really something that, I mean, I am living because of how privileged I've been. And I know that there are so many other composers that are as good as I am, even better, that they just weren't as lucky as I am. So I don't know. It's really hard. Then, I mean, at the same time, what the hell do I do otherwise? I'm 36. In my dreams, I mean, because I got so interested about coffee, I said this to some friends. I am going to have I'm taking some classes about coffee. I really would like to explore more. And I was even saying to my partner last summer, I was saying, what would be great for me is that for 2 months in a year, I stop composing and I just work in a coffee shop. That's like one of the dreams that I have. But ask me next year, maybe next year I have another one.
Or you will have a cool coffee place where you can play contemporary music.
No, not contemporary music. Just pop music is fine.
Okay.
No, not contemporary. But we're not contemporary. Why do we have to? No. It's fine. Also not music, you know.
Okay.
Just a very quiet, nice place with a little terrace in which you can just stop thinking, you know, and you just experience the magic flavor that a coffee can give.
Great. What does success mean for you?
Oof. That's actually a great question. I think that it just means another privilege. No, I think that it's I mean, if I remember, I mean, I chose to be a musician when I was 6. Okay, and I started to play the flute. I told my mother, I want to play this and I want to be a flutist. Then at some point in my life, I mean, I didn't manage to become a flutist, like I didn't manage to like win competitions or like playing the best orchestras, etc. So that dream somehow, was put in a standby because I decided then to become a composer when I just got bored about playing flute. But somehow when I started to compose, I didn't even think that I could do it as an actual job. You know, I mean, I always thought, I will probably teach or whatever. At some point I will just change and I mean, I can live my life just composing, and I travel the whole time. I meet people recognize me. Now I also get to choose which kind of projects I want to realize, which is unbelievable. And artistic directors trust my visions, musicians trust what I do. So I think that somehow this is what success means. It means that you have the freedom of really choosing what you want to do. You're not linked anymore to do what someone else asks you to do. You choose, you know. And I hope. I mean, I have to say that my real hope at the real success for me would be if I managed to make the actual change that I want to make, to see that to see this new music community changing. This is really what success would mean to me, and I think that this is the path I have to do, because when people start to trust you, when you say something and people are listening, you know, it's like, oh, okay, so wait a second, then maybe if I tell this person this. So, I mean, it happened to me, for example, that some artistic directors of ensembles, they were like, So Clara, when we are doing this next season, etc., what do you think? And I say like, oh, it's great. I mean, look, you are playing like 95% white men. I mean, maybe you can do something about it. And then I see that the next season they start to change.
Oh.
And I mean, it's not just because I say it, of course. I mean, probably I am one of the many people that say it. And I think that these things change. So I think that, success is probably the freedom that you have to say things that also people sometimes they don't like, but somehow they can't get mad at you, because it's not like you're famous, but anyway, it's like you don't.
Well, you might already have answered it. What drives you forward? Do you have a vision?
Yeah, the vision, as I said, is to have. I think that I just hope that I will keep discovering new things. The things that make me excited. I mean, I have these projects with this artist that I absolutely love as artist, as human being, which is Eva Alonso, which is a light designer, and so together with her, we have been making installations and trying to really create this sonic visual experience, and this is something that I really love. So I would just love to keep going, and I have to say that last year I worked with film with Peter Tchaikovsky because of this commission given from Darmstadt, which was fantastic, and I had to do the soundtrack of his short film Outer Space, and it was really a revealing experience to me. So I'd love to write soundtracks for horror films.
Okay.
Just horror films. I don't care about films, horror films. Oh my God, I got really, really obsessed.
Okay, we arrived at the last question. Which tip would you like to give young artists?
Ooh. A tip. Probably. Well, I mean, it's saying like this, I feel like an old grandma saying like, be honest to yourself. But it's like, just do what you want. If people don't like it, fuck it. Just do what you want. Don't think about pleasing other people. Because I don't think the music should please other people. You have to do it for yourself. People will join. And if they don't right away, okay, whatever. They will join a tiny bit later. But do it for yourself. And above all, music, I mean, is not just composing sounds. It's being part of a community. And we have to read, we have to document ourselves, we have to give a contribution, not just sonically to this community, but also in a more human way. And we have to be open as much as I can, I think, to all the other kind of music, even the music that we do not understand right away, which is what new music is for most of people that are not in our field. And I think that, probably just, be as open as you can and don't write for other people, just for yourself.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
for taking all this time with me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
This was the interview with Clara Ianotta. And I really hope that she could inspire you. And I'm looking forward to all your ideas and feedbacks through email or Facebook. Thank you so much that you tuned in today to my show. I hope that you liked it and it inspired you. And I would be so happy if you could tell your friends and your colleagues about this podcast, or if you could take some time to give this podcast a good evaluation on iTunes. Thank you. I wish you all the best. Live your music, live your life, and see you next time. Yours, Irene.